Hey, it's Saturday. Today is Saturday, June 5th, the end of week 22 of 2021. We had a great week. Hope you did too. Last Saturday evening, we got some good news and not so good news. Brian woke us up to tell us that everyone was okay, but the car wasn't. Brian was driving with the boys around the corner down the street from us here, and someone ran him off the road and he ended up in the ditch. Brian and his passengers were all fine. Our very old Corolla was little worse for wear. It was still drivable, but as you can imagine, after 18 years, toddlers and road trips and teaching two teenage drivers, the Corolla was not doing great, especially after this third accident now. So we decided that this time it wasn't worth the funds to fix it up again. And we started researching what our next car might be. On Sunday, the boys went away to church camp. We're gone most of the week. Monday was a holiday. It was Memorial Day. We didn't do much that day. I groomed Toby. Toby's our one dog that has to get haircuts. As much as Toby loves to be loved on, he was happy to have his haircut. Monday night, we watched a wonderful documentary about the show Sesame Street and how it got started back in the 60s, the impact that it had all over the country and in other countries. Jill and I, of course, remember Sesame Street from our childhood years. We just didn't realize how much had gone into it and that it was the very first TV show, at least in this country, to focus on education mixed with entertainment. They specifically wanted to focus on inner city kids because they knew that those children were often the ones that were most behind, even before they made it into kindergarten. So that documentary was really fascinating. It was neat to see all the different people that went into it. In particular, they talked about how the education experts that were involved in Sesame Street, how they worked with the writers, the television writers. And at one point, they had created a big binder of information explaining the jargon of education to the writers, the television writers, who they had their own jargon of how television writing is done, and they needed a translation between the two. I thought that was fascinating because I see that in my own work. When I first started out in technology, I was in a telecom company. Then when I switched from a telecom company to a company that does software for financial institutions, there was a big change in terms. So the jargon is different for each of those areas that I've worked in, so I wasn't really too surprised to see that the jargon was different between professional educators and professional TV writers. What they came up with in Sesame Street was just amazing. They had taken the best pieces of what was being used for commercials back then and basic children's entertainment, and they mixed it with education in ways that kids engaged with it. I know I did as a kid. Tuesday, I was curious again, thinking about song lyrics and how they get stuck in our heads whether we want them there or not. Song lyrics essentially are poetry, but I don't have any poems. Well, no, that's not true. I have hardly any poems that aren't set to music in my mind. I have a few from Shel Silverstein, from Where the Sidewalk Ends. I think I mostly just memorized those for fun. That's maybe 2 poems, whereas with songs, there's probably over 100 songs that are stuck in my head and will come right back out as soon as the rhythm and melody start. That's both good and bad, because there's some songs I've looked back on and went, oh my goodness, that was a terrible song, terrible message. So I was thinking about how powerful that is, that music and lyrics get stuck in our heads, whether we like it or not. On Wednesday, my curiosity was about the CVT transmission that is being used in a lot of cars these days. Jill and I, of course, were watching a lot of videos about different cars that are out there and what we might want to purchase. And this new term that I hadn't heard of, it's not new really, it's new to me, is CVT, which stands for Continuously Variable Transmission. I had no idea what it was. YouTube to the rescue. So I found a few videos on CVTs. Basically what it is, the gears of a regular older automatic transmission are completely removed, and it's a metal belt that goes in between pulleys, and the pulleys expand and contract. They've got the pulleys shaped like this at the top so that when it moves in and out, the belt moves up and down on that pulley and changes the speed because of the angle. So when you're driving a car that has a CVT instead of an automatic transmission, you don't feel any gear shifting because it's smooth all the way from the lowest gear to the highest gear. The CVTs also are known for producing much higher gas mileage. Thursday was Ben's 14th birthday. Our little baby Ben is no longer little. He's taller than me now. He's got a big deep voice. All the little boyness about him is gone. But of course he'll always be our baby. Also on Thursday, we picked up a new car. We decided on a Toyota hybrid. We really enjoy it. It gets amazingly great gas mileage, and we hope to have it as long as we did the old Toyota. Friday afternoon, the boys came home from camp. They had a great time there, met a lot of new friends, but we're very happy to be home all at the same time. Friday evening, we gave away the old Corolla to someone who really needed it. They have another Corolla about the same year, so they're going to be able to use this one for parts. So now we've gone from having two vehicles with over 200,000 miles on them to having one with very few miles, almost none. The other one has over 200,000. This should hold us for a good number of years. And that brings us up to today, Saturday. After I get done recording here, I'll be going over to Farley's house. Farley's the friend of mine that's a painter, and we're going to be working on the plans for how to build out his website. Again, we're building a website for his community of people that want to learn how to paint. I'm really excited about this. I know I've been saying that every week. It really feels like this is a great mixture of what I love to do with video and what Farley loves to do with painting. Between the two of us, I think we're going to have a blast. So that wraps up week 22 of 2021. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.